Scream. It is undoubtedly one of the greatest horror franchises of all time. This franchise effectively made the slasher horror subgenre much more popular with a classic murder mystery plot. From the openings to the Ghostface reveals, it is a binge-worthy franchise and definitely a fantastic watch. So in today's video, I'll be sharing my opinion with you guys on who my favourite Ghostfaces are. Remember that this is just my opinion, so it is completely fine if you disagree with me. We all have our own opinions. Now, I'm not going to be keeping you waiting for much longer, but I would just like to say I am going to be including only the main Ghostfaces. For example, I won't be including Jason Carvey from Scream 6 in my ranking, since he was only in the film for a very short period of time. As well as this, for killers like Billy Loomis and Stu Macher, I'll be talking about them individually, but they'll be ranked as a duo. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off at the bottom of my list, at number 6, we have Roman from Scream 3. Now I know what you may be thinking, but allow me to explain. In Scream 3, Roman was the director of the film Stab, who eventually was not only revealed to be Ghostface, but also to be Sidney's half-brother. I personally really liked that twist that he and Sidney turned out to be related, not to mention that he practically gave Stu Macher and Billy Loomis the idea to start all of the killings in the first place. For me, what held his character back was that he lacked a strong motive. Don't get me wrong, I didn't think that his whole jealousy of Sidney's fame was a bad idea at all. It is just that when I watched it for the first time, the reveal was slightly underwhelming, especially taking into account that he was the only single Ghostface in the entire franchise. I'm not so sure if that is a positive or a negative touch to the film's uniqueness. Coming up next at number 5, we have Amber Freeman and Richie Kirsch from Scream 5. As a whole, I loved this movie. It was genuinely great, and I really liked all of the new characters. However, the reason why these two are in 5th place for my favourite Ghostfaces is because of their motive. Believe me, I would love to put them higher, but everyone else we have left on the list is either more logical or just a better Ghostface in general. In this film, Amber Freeman was actually great with her psychotic performance at the end, especially the way she pointed her knife playfully. I genuinely thought that was an excellent touch and made her seem like more of a crazy person. Richie was also a brilliant Ghostface. It's just for me it was a bit cliche to have the boyfriend of the main character turn out to be the killer. I do however like that he was secretly obsessed with all the Stab movies. That was a great contrast to the beginning of the film, where he tried to explain that he had never seen one before. Going back to the pair's motive, they decided to make their own Stab film after the last one released was apparently a huge disappointment to them. It was not a terrific motive, but it does sort of highlight how psychotic they are to do all these killings just to make their own movie. Next up on the list, we have Nancy Loomis and Mickey Altieri. In my opinion, Scream 2 as a whole is pretty underrated with its classic sequel plot. What I like about these killers is that we see from the very beginning that Mickey is obsessed with sequels, since he argues about them with Randy in his film studies class. Mickey is shown to be genuinely psychotic, which is a great touch that I genuinely like. He is also shown to be manipulative, since he made Sidney believe that it was her boyfriend who was Ghostface all over again. His motive wasn't awful, blaming it on the movies and all, but what held him back was that there was just a lack of uniqueness in his character for me. Many actually call him a knockoff Stu Macher, which isn't completely wrong in essence, but all in all, he is a very underrated Ghostface. Moving on to Nancy Loomis. Now for me, she was a bit of an underwhelming Ghostface reveal. Don't get me wrong, her performance was absolutely amazing. And she of course was Billy's mum, whose main motive was getting revenge on Sidney for killing her son. However, I did not particularly enjoy it when she revealed herself. In terms of motive, she had a very logical one, but I guess her reveal just wasn't for me. At number 3, we have Jill Roberts and Charlie Walker. Honestly, I just love the fact that Jill was the killer. It highlights the idea that Sidney couldn't even trust her family not to be the killer. What I also liked is that her psychotic reveal was genuinely surprising. Her motive was a little weak, but it was truly savage, since she just wanted to be the only girl that came out on top, to surpass the fame that Sidney had. Charlie, on the other hand, was a little surprising, since I thought he would be murdered beforehand. However, I like that he became a pivotal moment in the franchise, where Jill betrayed him by killing him in the end. Coming up in second place, we have Detective Bailey, Quinn Bailey, and Ethan Landry from Scream 6. I mean, what can I say? I was so surprised of how this turned out. I mean, we all thought that Quinn was dead, but she came back like a badass to help her dad and brother. Many of us didn't want to suspect the detective, since we thought that he was just helping the entire time, and Ethan was great too. Everyone thought that he was just the dorky guy, and then he turned out to be Ghostface. I just didn't want to believe it. Honestly, I was just extremely happy with the result of this movie. Now the moment we've all been waiting for. At the top, we have the classic duo, Billy Loomis and Stu Macher. I mean, their performance was so incredible. Billy manipulated Sidney so many times he even managed to manipulate the audience watching. We even saw him get arrested, which made us all think he couldn't be the killer. Everything from his hair in the scene to the way he revealed himself was so amazing. The motive was on point, and he even got away with killing Sidney's mum for a whole year. Now to Stu. This guy is a general menace. He did the entire thing for fun. I mean, what a psychopath. He even joked in the end about it being peer pressure from Billy, which was actually a very interesting touch. The first Scream Ghostfaces will always be my favourite, and nothing can change that. Thank you all so much for watching, and again, I just want to clarify, I love all of the Scream films. There is not one that I hate.